From the heart of the land of the Guardians, where the dog pound roars, the Cavs soar, and heartbreak is just part of the game, this is 3 and Out, Cleveland Sports Talk. With Jason, Drew, and Michael, 3 diehard fans breaking down the highs, the lows, and everything in between. No fluff, no filters, just Cleveland sports the way it's meant to be. Now let's get into it. Here's your hosts, Michael, Jason, and Drew.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is your 3 and Out podcast, Cleveland Sports Talk. So glad you guys are here with us. This is Michael. We've got Drew.
Evening.
We've got Jason.
Yes, sir.
And we are so excited that you've come back to join us again. Tonight, we are going to start off by addressing our fan, Mr. Brennan Betts. We put a post out on our Facebook. If you haven't already gone on and liked that, please go check it out and like it. It's where we post a lot of our updates, and we've got an X account. Just look for 3 and Out Cleveland Sports. We asked the question, what are some things you guys want to hear about? What are some things that you want to talk about on the show tonight? And wrong password. Hold on there, buddy. He asked us, what do you guys think of Travis Hunter, and how good do you think the Guardians can be this year? So we were going to start off and addressing that by getting some Travis Hunter talk. And I was just telling the guys the other day, when we first started the draft talk, I wasn't really a Travis Hunter fan. But the more I've heard people that are legit sports people, the more that I've heard actual athletes talk about him, the more I'm getting on board when they just look at them and they say, the dude's just an athlete. He's just a trained athlete. He's gifted. He's got a knack for the ball. He's just knows where to be and when to be there. And those types of guys generally tend to succeed in the NFL.
I am all in on the Travis Hunter.
Yes, we do.
And, yeah, I know. If the Browns aren't convinced that any of the quarterbacks in this draft are the future,
mm-hmm.
if they're not sold, then I don't think you can take them at 2. And you have to go with Hunter.
Yep.
100%.
Because one of the things that I look at is, number one, as a receiver, he had almost 100 catches on, as the main focus of the offense, 1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns, while also playing all of the defensive snaps.
Right.
And if you watched the pro day they held with the Browns, he wasn't even planning on working out. He goes out, he's like in street clothes and
just showing off the sheer athleticism.
Right.
No gloves.
Some of his footwork, it's not really probably
you're
what you're going to do in a real game.
Yeah, you're a rookie.
But
you'll figure it out.
You can see how fast his feet are, how athletic, how, just he can accelerate in his hand. Like, I'm sold.
He didn't use gloves.
Right.
I was impressed.
I'm sold on him, I think. And then the thing is, too, when you look at somebody like Abdul Carter,
mm-hmm.
how many sacks would a rookie have? A good rookie, 8, 9, 10. 11.
I was thinking lower, even like in the 6s.
Well, I'm saying
maybe on this particular defensive line, because you got Myles Garrett on the left and you've got some studs. Yeah, maybe they're putting their attention there, and he has 10. But,
okay. But
6 would be good.
Yeah. So you're talking about a guy who, not that that's the only way he can impact,
right.
but maybe 3, 4, 5 plays a game, he's even impacting the play.
Right.
Travis Hunter's a guy you can get sweeps with, you can get screens with, you can get plays out in the field.
Maybe a punt return.
You can throw him 10, 12 touches a game,
right.
minimum, and then throw him out on defense where, on known passing plays, now all of a sudden he's shutting somebody down.
Yeah.
Now he's impacted 15, 18, 20 plays versus an Abdul Carter who impacts at best 5 to 10 per game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to me, that's what I look at, and I just think he's too good of a physical talent to pass on.
Yeah.
And I'm even saying that instead of a quarterback, unless the Browns are sold.
But does Travis Hunter make Newsome disposable? Newsome's been on the trade block. His name's been floated multiple times throughout the free agency.
I don't think he makes Newsome disposable unless you're getting another key piece in return.
Well,
I think what he does is he allows you to play Newsome less, play Newsome on the outside. I've heard talk of, do you move Martin Emerson to a safety?
Yeah.
That's a
He's
big
got
boy
the
for
size
safety. Yeah.
and he's lacking the speed to cover the receivers last
Could you
year.
let I never heard that, but all of a sudden it's got me wondering. Grant Delpit's like 6'3" playing safety. Martin Emerson's like 6'1", 6'2", maybe taller than that, and he's a big, hard hitting body. You let Juan Thornhill go to the flipping Steelers, but good Lord, you'd have 2 back-breaking safeties. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, Martin Emerson's 6'2", 201.
And he hits hard.
Yeah. And so then now you can put Newsome back outside
Right.
where he was actually pretty good.
Yeah,
I won't say great, but pretty good.
he was good.
And Delpit, by the way, is 6'3", 208.
Yeah, that's a big boy.
Basically the same weight and size.
Yeah. I mean, but if you draft Travis Hunter, you have a lockdown corner
Yes,
who can
but
also play 25, 30 snaps on offense.
right. But I think you are better served as a primary receiver where he's playing, how many offensive snaps? 65 a game? 60, 65 snaps a game?
Yeah.
So say he's playing in 60 of those.
Depending on who our quarterback is, and because I
right,
mean the whole show got its name literally from our 3-and-out Browns.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Well, and that's that. My whole point is if Newsome's disposable, maybe a Travis Hunter pick signifies a draft day trade with Atlanta,
or
with
even
Newsome,
to trade back up like we talked about last show
Cousins.
to jump up and get Dart.
Well,
back
that's
in
what I'm
that first
saying.
round.
You know, do we get Cousins in some kind of trade, get rid of Newsome, and then is it Dart?
Wait, who was the other one you were talking about? The first one, quarterback?
Kenny,
No, the other one.
Kirk's cousin? Come
That
on.
was per Drew. That was
Yeah,
not me.
no.
Because I'm on Jason's side.
Yeah,
with,
no. Listen, you know, and then you that opens the door for Dart or Milrow
Right.
or my boy from Louisville,
Tyler.
Shuck.
Lamar Jackson.
No, and
He
I
is
get
no
where you're going
Lamar
with the
Jackson.
Newsome thing, and I don't disagree. But to me, if you're going to play Hunter 60 plays on offense,
Mhm.
how much can you get out of him before you get diminishing returns on defense?
In his
I don't
first
know.
in his first 2 or 3 years,
Probably
a
not
lot.
much.
4 years, no.
Yeah, then you know what
just
I
all
mean?
beat up and worn out.
Right. So I'm not against the idea, but I'd have to see what you get back in a trade for
Right.
Newsome. And Kirk Cousins, no. I'm
But-
keeping Greg
and-
Newsome, and I'm signing Joe Flacco.
And back to your
I'm not giving up assets then.
back to your point of at that number 2 overall pick, there's only like 3 or 4 guys, in my opinion, in this whole draft that are worthy of that pick, and I will name them this time. I know last time I said I heard a popular podcast where they were breaking down when Jason was talking about trading down in the draft, and I'm so glad nobody called BS on me saying there was 10 guys because I didn't have 10
There's
guys.
not 10.
I didn't have 10 names to throw at you for that, but this one I do. When you're at the number 2 overall pick, Sanders, not the guy. Would I be shocked if we got him, though, because we're those guys? No. But Abdul Carter, he's that guy. Travis Hunter comes in, he can be a game changer. He's that guy. Cam Ward, he's that guy. You know, however we messed this one up too, which was Gentry.
Genty.
Ashton
Genty. He's that guy. Those are the kind of guys that you want to see that are going to come in. This is the number 2 overall pick in the NFL draft. This is not the 33rd pick.
is
This is
somebody
not
looking to
the
be a Pro
12th
Bowler.
to 15th. This is a guy that should come in. Like when you go and sign one of those really high-end free agents, this guy should come in and make some type of an impact on your team
Almost
this year.
immediately.
Yes, like within the first half of the season, you should know that he's present.
Now
But-
again, I'm all in on drafting Travis Hunter,
Mhm.
but I say that knowing if the Browns look at Shador or somebody else as their franchise QB,
Mhm.
I think you have to take him at 2. Now, because the more I look at it, like Vegas and New Orleans and Pittsburgh, and there are some teams that unless we have the assets to move up,
Mhm.
are probably going to take. There's only really 3, maybe 4 quarterbacks that you can look at and say,
Yeah.
Now, Tyler Shuck, if he can stay healthy, maybe is one of those options, but his health is a concern.
Right.
And so I don't think any of them are, but to me,
No,
If
I don't
those
think any
guys
of them are
view they
day one
are,
starters.
I think they
but,
have to take them.
but like a guy like Milroe that could sit behind a Kirk Cousins for 3 years,
Joe Flacco.
that would be that kid develops. I mean,
Right.
he is he's like 25 pounds heavier than
You're talking Milroe?
yeah. He's like 25 pounds heavier than Jaden Daniels and Lamar.
His physical traits
He is just an
are
absolute.
enticing, 100%.
But he can throw a 20-yard dig spot on in traffic, and then 2 plays later in the same spot, miss a guy by 15 yards. you
Yeah,
know?
we don't need that because
Well,
we've had that.
Yeah, we've had that. So
I mean,
Too often.
you go back to the Baker talk. I know, whatever, he's doing great in Tampa Bay, but like, how many times did we sit there towards the end after he had that shoulder injury, and we were like watching a tight end standing on the goal line with nobody in front of him, and he threw it through the field goal post.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
To-
we saw
yeah.
more last year with Deshaun.
right.
it's not very often I'm going to agree with Drew, but I'm leaning.
Wait, can you say that again?
I'm leaning toward the Travis Hunter pick at 2.
Yeah, I would agree.
At this moment right now, if gun to my head type scenario,
Per Drew.
doesn't happen very often, but
I
Travis
think we've
Hunter.
got-
I mean, there's a guy that at the end of the day, between whether he's an offense plus defense or a defense plus offense,
He's a plug.
he's 75 to 80 snaps a game,
Mm-hmm.
and impactful snaps.
And should be plug and play. You should be able to plug him in on defense and get the same quality out of him as offense.
And again, I think it makes sense to me. We did not re-sign Elijah Moore. Now, last year, Elijah Moore was 102 targets, 61 catches.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's not, Pro Bowl type thing, but, size-wise, similar.
right.
I could see him playing that slot.
I think Travis Hunter's probably more athletic than Elijah Moore. I think I was the one guy that was super on the bandwagon. I'll never forget where I was standing when I texted you guys that we were interested in him. I was so pumped and getting him from the Jets, and everybody was, okay. And then he came in the end up being, okay. So I think in that whole scenario of Elijah Moore leaving, he wasn't terrible with us.
No,
he wasn't
no.
like this flashy, I thought he was going to be way better than what he was. But a guy like Travis Hunter sliding into the role of Elijah Moore, holy smoke!
That's kind of my point too. When you think about Elijah Moore and how many snaps he played on offense between, when we go 2 tight ends or we go 3 tight end sets, and that flanker's out, that slot guy's out.
Right.
I still see Travis Hunter as playing 100% of the snaps at cornerback. He could be a lockdown corner from day one. That's my opinion.
Right.
I think that's where he goes, and I think he plugs in and plays another 25 to 30 snaps on offense.
Well, they had all these like fancy plays, not fancy, but like these gimmicky plays where you send your tight ends and your wide receivers out, and they put them in the trips right type package.
Yeah.
And Elijah Moore would be the guy that took 2 steps behind the line of scrimmage. They chuck the ball to him and then expect him to make a play. Not shifty enough. But a guy like Travis Hunter comes in, plays those reps on defense, and you bring him into these little scenarios in the slot, and all of a sudden you throw in those little gimmicky plays, and the footwork that he brings to the table, the ability to make guys miss, and he could be good for 8 to 10 yards on a play like that we literally lost 4 and 5, and Jameis somehow managed to throw interceptions from that scenario. But
just from a pure football standpoint, I don't know how you can pass on a guy like that
Right.
now. And I know that's where my head's at, but
because you
when
got
you're gonna
guys like Myles Garrett playing defensive end. Would it be
Yeah.
amazing to pair an Abdul Carter
sure.
and Myles Garrett? Absolutely. But you've got other guys that if they can put any type of pressure on the quarterback and make it to where you have to turn the direction to them, frees up a guy for Myles Garrett to be good. So you don't have to have that, but
well, we
we
done
don't
the,
have that.
We've done the
factor on offense.
we've done the Jadeveon Clowney experiment, the Zadarius Smith's experiment. Where we brought in
We
those.
do have some young guys who
was just
have
gonna say,
shown
what's-
promise.
I-
Isaiah
I'm gonna-
McGuire, Alex Wright.
I'm gonna mess his name
Olo.
up. That guy.
Ogbo.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
That guy.
Ogbo,
That guy's shown a
Ogbo.
lot of potential. That dude has grit. I mean, when he comes in and plays, it's
Though
Yeah,
last year
yeah.
was
It's
a little
fire.
bit down for him, but
the whole defense was weird though.
but, you know,
that was
but
3 and out
I'm
though.
actually
Also,
more excited about Alex Wright. No,
yeah, I like him
we're-
too. He's a big
we're
boy.
Digressing from the question.
Were you the
of
one that
Travis
pointed out
Hunter.
about him going to defensive tackle? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big old boy.
Yeah. I don't think we need that position, and the foot injury of Carter worries me a little bit.
So our opinion on
Can't show
Travis Hunter is
Got to take him.
We need
number
to.
2.
Yeah. You take him at 2. You
have
take
to.
him at 2, and then we let the chips fall where
And
they
then you
may.
do your best to get the quarterback that you want somewhere later in the
right,
draft.
and he's going to help whatever current quarterback you have because you've got Jerry Jeudy showed up a lot in the end of the season last year, and a guy like that excels when you got a guy like Travis Hunter. A guy like
think
Travis
about
Hunter
this.
excels when you got a guy like Jerry Jeudy. I mean, that's a good match.
Not to throw another topic in, but I was just looking up while you guys were talking. Before he got hurt, the 4 full games prior to getting hurt, Cedric Tillman was averaging over 75 yards a game.
I like him. He's a big
As a
boy
6'3". So now you've got your possession receiver in Jeudy, you've got your big play guy in Hunter, and you've got your receiver
boy,
with size,
big body,
your goal line
yeah.
receiver in Tillman.
too. Right, and Njoku.
So
You put either
can
one
he
of them on either
duplicate
side?
that? I don't know. That's a 4-game sample. It's too small. Maybe he can't duplicate it, but there's at least a potential.
I got hope.
Yeah,
But I'm a Browns fan, and that's
We're
what
a
I
Browns
do.
fan. There's always
The
next
season ends, and I hate them. And then a week later, I'm
All
back
about 'em.
on all cards on the table, boys. We're going to the Super Bowl.
I would actually argue that maybe the hate extended past a week for all of us this year.
This year
year,
sucked for
100%.
sure. Yes.
Until we began talking about the number 2 pick in the draft,
Yeah.
we were miserable.
Yeah, it was a
And even when we were starting to talk about it, because it's like,
We were still miserable.
are you
Because
kidding
we're
me?
going to make the wrong pick.
How many years have we not had a draft pick? Then the one year we get a draft pick, we get the number 2 pick, and there's nobody worthy of taking it number 2 overall.
Last year,
no
6
game
quarterbacks.
changers.
Yeah.
This year, maybe none.
Right.
yeah.
All right. What was the other part of that question?
So he was asking about the Guardians, and I think it's funny because today I was outside. I was doing a little bit of yard work. Kind of nice day out. Sun was shining, and then I went to one of my kids' lacrosse games. And within about 10 minutes of being at that lacrosse game, I swear it dropped 15 degrees, and it was snowing and raining, and it felt like tornadoes. I was like in the opening credits of Wizard of Oz for a minute there. It felt like it was awful. And then Jason sits down at the table and tells us he's got tickets tomorrow to.
I have tickets.
What do you have tickets to?
Opening day.
In
above-
Cleveland.
in Cleveland,
Holy
yes.
crap! Is it going to be?
I have
fun?
charged
20
my.
degree weather.
Jeez.
I have charged my Milwaukee heated jacket.
Right.
I will be warm at the game, but I will be there.
I've literally brought my pod with me to sit in the stands. But typical Cleveland, right?
Yeah, exactly. You never know what you're going to get April in Cleveland. So, my opinion on the Guardians right now, it's too early to tell. Plenty of red flags. We're 3-6 after 9 games.
All on the
We
road,
have-
though. That's the
Well,
downside.
let's hit a bright note. There's 162 of them left.
There are. Yeah, there's 162 games.
There's
yeah,
a few.
So,
well, not left.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Math guy, that just gave me a look
That's
like I just literally
153
slapped his mom in the
left.
face or
I had
something.
to itch real quick.
yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So,
Drew's breaking out in hives because I said there's 9 games in and we're 162 left. So,
well, you were just assuming the playoffs.
right. Long run.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not. Maybe.
Yeah, so I'm not panicked. I'm optimistic. Pitching has been an issue. Tomorrow I think Ben Lively takes the mound. He's 2 starts in, and they haven't been great. I think he's pitched a total of 9 innings, maybe a little over. He's got a 6.75 ERA.
Giving up 7 earned runs.
He's been a little less lively than.
Yes, yeah. The
the ball's
bats,
been real
the bats have
lively
been
right off the
lively.
bat.
So we're hoping tomorrow turns it around for him in this beautiful Cleveland, Ohio weather. But and offensively, it's been a struggle as well. I think there's 3 guys on the team that are batting 300 at this point.
Unfortunately, we played. Who was it? The Angels we just played the other night. And I looked, and they had 3 guys that didn't even have a 1 after the decimal point, and they still managed to put up about 6 or so on us.
Is our pitching?
There are a couple bright spots. Ramirez seems to have emerged.
Woke up. Him and Quan have been good.
And Quan is just a stud. Man.
Right.
What a fine that kid is.
He's a favorite of mine.
Carlos Santana.
Dude doesn't even look
doing
like
bad.
he ever looked the Guardians. We were just watching the
Yeah.
game the other night, and I saw him come up to the plate, and I was like, he literally looks the same that he did
He's
when
40.
he was with us like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
He's playing, he's literally starting at first base. A guy like that
At 40
played
years old.
catcher as long as he did, moved to first base, went to DH. He should be playing DH, and he's literally starting at first base right now. He's
Well,
another
that's
fan
a
favorite.
discussion for another day. Is him over Manzardo at first, but
I think they're just trying to get Manzardo comfortable with the batting situation right now.
he had a good first game.
Yeah, two
Yeah,
home runs and then that's it.
No, and that's where I was going with the Guardians. If you talk about what they need to do or the outlook, it's all right now. To me, it's all pitching. Their hitting's they're never going to be a great hitting team, but I feel like they've played with a little more power so far.
Yeah,
But I was going to pitching too. You look at whether you're a starter or a bullpen guy. Lively, 7 runs in just over 9 innings. Gavin Williams, 6 runs in 8 innings. Tanner Bybee, 7 runs in 9 2/3.
Ortiz.
Ortiz, 10 runs in 10 innings. But look at Class A. Last year, he gave up 5 total earned runs all year. Already given up 3.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a save.
that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Doesn't have a save yet. Every pitcher in our rotation, whether, again, starter or out of the bullpen, has given up at least 2 earned runs, except for Jacob Junis,
Yeah.
who's pitched 4 innings, hasn't given up a run.
Yeah.
No, never mind. Hunter Gaddis hasn't either. So
Well, again, 9 runs starting off the season on the road. That's maybe it is an excuse, but hopefully this homestand we can turn things around, and at least one day there'll be snow. We know that'll be tomorrow because
Right.
I'll be there.
It'll
Well,
be the
only
worst
thing,
weather
though,
you
to
ever
me
had
is-
in Ohio.
I would think pitching is the one thing that would travel because the mound is the mound, the
Yeah.
plate's a plate, it doesn't change. Every field is different, every fence is different,
Right.
every layout. So for a batter, everything looks different. For a pitcher,
Yeah.
I would think that would be the one thing to travel. So hopefully I'm wrong.
And you got one of the best pitching coaches in baseball too, but it always seems that seems to be the thing that the Guardians are known for is their pitching. So it's
Right.
very disappointing when you start off a season and the pitching's the reason why you're in such a bad spot. But
Well, in last year, their bullpen was dominant, might be
Right.
an understatement.
right,
Now, their starters have been abysmal, so that doesn't help the bullpen.
I think Carlos
But if-
Carrasco came in and pitched an inning last night and was out. He got rocked pretty heavy.
Who? For us?
Yep,
He's not on our team. Is he? Carlos Carrasco?
I thought he
back?
was.
No.
Well, you know what? There was one point where I was watching a replay of a game. It might have been that one.
Yeah,
He
he's-
used to be.
Yeah, it's not. But am I looking at this right? Does Jose Ramirez in 9 games have 4 errors?
Yes. Oh, yeah. His fielding has been. I've seen.
Or is that the fact that we have a 40-plus-year-old playing first base?
No,
Maybe-
they've been
I'm
his.
kidding.
He had one the other night that was just. It was almost basically a routine grounder. Went to pick it up in his glove and it flopped right out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been an issue. So who knows why? Again, is it
Yeah.
the different field and different role of the ball? But it's not like he hasn't played in those parks before.
Yeah, 153 more games.
Hey, good
There's
math.
time.
Mike, did you hear that?
I didn't understand that math. Could you do that again? Break that down.
We're going to break it down. 153 plus 9 equals 162.
Carry the one.
Carry the 1.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, he just literally picked up a 1 and walked across the room.
Burger, one of them. So in my defense, Carlos Carrasco plays for the Yankees, and what happened was
What happened was
we were watching the Guardians yesterday because they were starting. I got the notification on my phone that said the Guardians game had started. So we turned it on and we were watching the Guardians game, and they were playing the same team that said that we were playing. But when I looked back at my phone later, it said they were warming up. So it gave me a notification. So we were watching a game, what seemed to be from last year, because Josh Naylor came up to the plate. And we're like, golly, I didn't realize Bo and Josh look so much alike. And then we're like, that's definitely Josh. And then we realized
yeah.
we're watching a replay. And so in my defense,
There is no
There's no
defense
defense for
because he didn't play for him last year either.
he did.
Was it last year?
They brought him back.
Okay.
It was weird. And then they
I thought it was
They
2
had a
years
big,
ago.
like, weird ceremony. Maybe it was. I don't know. Maybe that game was 2 years ago. I don't know. We didn't look at the date.
Well,
We
hold
just
on,
knew
let me
that it
look.
was old.
Carlos Carrasco did play last year.
Did he? Okay.
Who sucks now?
He pitched 103 innings,
It had
21
103 runs given up.
65.
Works every time, 60% of the time.
Rawr.
There's actual bits of Panther in it.
That makes no sense.
It smells like burnt hair and gasoline. Anyway, so
Where have we gone?
I think we all feel like that the Guardians are World Series contenders.
Yes.
We're just not there yet.
Just not quite there.
A lot to fix, but a lot of time.
So that's our opening segment there for you.
I'd like to thank you for the
Right.
for the questions.
question.
So keep those coming.
Right. We appreciate that. Like I said, if you haven't already gone on and liked our Facebook page or our X account, follow us, leave us comments. We love to chat with you and break this down. This is what makes it fun, is hearing from the folks on the other side of the microphone. So let's take a minute here. We want to give our sponsors a second here to have a word to throw out there at you. 3 and Out is brought to you by American Crop Insurance. Securing your harvest, protecting your future, servicing farms in Northeast Ohio since 2008. Get the service you deserve. Partner with American Crop Insurance. Call 330-268-1553 or visit AmericanCropInsurance.com. All right, welcome back. We have talked some Cleveland Browns. We have talked some Cleveland Guardians. One of the things that is crazy to me that we haven't really talked much about on this show is the Cavaliers, guys. We literally have the playoffs right around the corner, and right now as it stands, we are 4 games away from clinching home court. If the Cavs need to win one of their next 4 and they clinch home court, or if the Boston Celtics lose one game, we clinch home court. One of the things we were chatting about with that is, guys, Boston is really a team that is kind of scary in this whole playoff scenario. And, I mean, we know it. I believe the organization has to know it. Otherwise, they don't make the trade for DeAndre Hunter. I mean, that's the guy they brought in to lock up Tatum, in my opinion, and I think all of our opinions. But if we don't get this home court advantage, we have to then play through Boston. If we win the home court advantage, we get the first round bye. We get an easier opponent. I mean, when you're in the playoffs, you're talking professional basketball, professional sports, professional athletes. These are still going to be guys that are hard to go up against. But if it comes down to a series with Boston, Boston's got to play through us at home. A 7-game series at home, I feel way more comfortable with than I do a 7-game series going through Boston. So I think it is crucial we pick up a win in these next 4 games, or Boston loses one, to get that home court, because I think that is what separates it for me. So
It's unfortunately they've put themselves in this position because they've struggled lately, because they basically were running away with it until they kind of hit a wall
Right.
for whatever reason. 8-7 in their last 15. They were actually on track, kind of in the driver's seat, to take the number 1 seed overall. And then Oklahoma played really well. And when they hit their slide, now they're just playing for number 1 in the East. And, when you look at the last 4 games, they got Chicago, at Indiana, at New York, and then Indiana at home. The next game against Chicago, we were talking earlier about Chicago's injury list and ours. It's a home game, and we just came off a loss from a home game from Sacramento. This is the game we got to clinch.
right.
Because then, we can talk about, too, what do you do for the last 3 games to get ready for the playoffs? There's no pressure. Now you can fix the things that are broken when it comes to why you're 8-7 versus, a 15-game win streak, a 12-game win streak, a 16-game win streak. What were you doing during those periods that you're not doing now? Because when you watch them, it's not the same. Something's broken on both ends of the floor. They're struggling at the end in close games. They, for the first 80% of the season, they were the greatest clutch team in the history of the NBA. When you talk about, what that metric is. And, the close games they've had lately, get away from them late. They're not making shots. They're not running offense. They're not getting stops. They get in foul trouble.
Hero ball.
It just changes. And so I think they've got to take this next game. And I know Donovan's already been ruled out. And they've got to take everybody that can play. And it's got to be treated like a playoff game. Because to me, you've got to make that game the game that guarantees you the number 1 seed.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
Lock it up now. Don't make any questions.
yeah, because like you said, there to me, I won't say there's no way,
Mhm.
but it's more like 1 in a million
Right.
of winning a game in Boston, Game 7, if it goes 7. And starting off in Boston, the first 2 games,
Right.
that sets
that's
the
a
tone.
momentum.
And now versus 2
Right.
games. No, that's to assume we get to Boston, and that's a topic we can discuss too, because I'm not convinced some teams before Boston don't present a pretty rough challenge.
Yeah, if we're not playing our A game for sure.
Yeah, but it's this game tomorrow on the 8th is the key to getting things right by playoff time.
Here's an interesting stat. We're 33-6 at home. That tells you how critical it's going to be
Right.
to have that home court
yeah.
advantage. But
Hey, we got the best fans in the land.
we do.
We go to baseball games in the middle of winter.
Sure enough. Can't sell the tickets now. But Boston is 32-7 on the road. They have a
Sheesh.
better road record. They're 26-13.
So it's
at
almost
home.
like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't type of thing. But
Well, I mean,
much rather lose to them in my house though than in their house. So
they've almost lost double the games at home than they've lost on
That's
the road
crazy.
this year for Boston. So, I don't know if that's indicative of anything or if, I know they were dealing with some adversity earlier in the season too. So,
Well, and with Boston, and again jumping ahead, but their big issue is Porzingis' health.
yeah.
When he's healthy, they're a completely different team. He's still got nagging injuries. What will his status be come that time after going through 2 other series? Who knows? But pointing to that, the 4 games they played this year, they were 1-1 in Boston and 1-1 at home.
Yeah.
were those before or after the Hunter trade?
2 were before for sure. Let me see when they.
I know one of the games for sure.
At Boston was after. That was the win. And the loss at home, I think, was before. Let me look at the box score. I think that was before because that was February.
'Cause I remember when they brought him in and we went to Boston and beat them, and I was like,
that one was definitely post. That one, I
that felt good.
Was that the one they were up by like 25 and
yes, and they came back.
Yeah, yeah. That's crazy.
That was a good one.
But yeah, that's the only one that he's played in. Now, we were playing a whole different brand of basketball
Right.
at that point. That was
High
in the midst of
energy.
our 16-game win streak.
High
whereas
energy. Everybody seemed in sync. Everything seemed like it was
They're just not the same team the last month.
right.
Well, Boston's 9-1 in their last 10 games, and they've got a relatively easy schedule here to finish out the regular season. So I don't anticipate them losing any of those 4 games.
Not likely.
But Chicago's banged up.
Mm-hmm.
Mitchell's going to be missing the game, but other than that, we're relatively healthy. So
I've always been kind of on the I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say with funny things, but I always feel like when Mitchell sits out a game and Garland's able to shine and they have their backs against the wall, like in this scenario, like I feel like Kenny Atkins is sitting these guys down and saying, listen, it's one game at a time right now, and we need a win tonight. Just like what Drew was saying, Chicago is where we need to win this game at. And I feel like when you put that on the shoulders of Darius Garland and you tell him, by the way, Mitchell's out, there's no share time. I
Yeah.
feel like that's where he really tends to shine. So when you look at a starting 5 and you say, hey, probably the best player on your team, if not the best, maybe he's 1A and 1B with Darius right now, is going to be out for this game. I don't get as scared with this as I do if it were the other way around. I feel like when Garland's out, he brings a certain energy to the whole level of it. So if I have to put my confidence, or if I'm on FanDuel making a bet for them to win, I still feel pretty good that they can pull off this in Chicago with Mitchell being out. Just my
what I would
opinion
like
from
to
a
see-
football fan first type of thing, if you know what I'm saying.
No, I do. And it's, to me, when you watch the Cavs, like some of the best games I've seen them play this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping with Mitchell out tomorrow. And I don't know, Dean Wade only played 3 minutes last game. I don't know his status. I don't know why. If that was just a coaching decision or something happened. all that being said, is I like when he's used Craig Porter Jr., when he's used Javonte Green, when he's used Jalen Tyson, guys who don't play as many minutes, but those are hustle guys too.
Yeah,
They
Porter
come
when
in,
he hasn't
they
been
get
playing
you-
for a
they
while.
get you an extra possession here and there, and that becomes infectious.
Yeah.
And in a game where I feel like you've got to win, you got to use those guys, even if it's only for 2-3 minutes here and there, to run up and down the floor, dive on the ground, get that extra rebound, something to jumpstart
Right.
the energy in the game, because it's just been lacking.
Do you? Oh, go ahead, Mike.
I was just gonna say with Porter, every time I've ever seen him, he's a guy that would you call him an asset to the team? Yes and no. Like he's one of those guys that every time he gets an opportunity to come in and play, he doesn't get a ton of time, but when he does, it's like he's fighting for a contract with any team that are willing to take him seriously. And I love that about him, especially when you're on a team like this that's got talent everywhere, and you got a guy like Mitchell that's going to be out. So you're gonna get creative with the rotation a little bit. Ty Jerome, dude's a baller, but you're going to get creative with that to fill that slot. And I feel like when Porter comes in, you're exactly right. He's what fires teams up. Like that's the guy that when he comes in and he's playing like there's no tomorrow, because there might not be a tomorrow for him. Once the playoffs start and you shrink
He's
that
fighting
roster
today
down,
for an opportunity
right?
tomorrow.
Because once
Every
that
time he steps on the floor.
playoffs start and that roster shrinks down, we might not see Porter again for the rest of the season.
No.
So yeah, I 100% agree with you that those are the types of guys that you want to see help fight and get this thing done. Lock it up.
Do you think, like, assuming we win against Chicago tomorrow and we lock up the number 1 seed, do you see those last 3 regular season games allowing some of those role players to really get big minutes and have some momentum and some confidence going into the playoffs, or is that not as big of a deal?
I think it's the age-old discussion. I mean, we used to talk about it with the Browns too. Once you clinch a playoff spot, right now we're clinching number 1 seed. The rest versus rust.
We used to talk about that with the Browns.
Well, the 1 year they made the playoffs, yes.
Well, we talk about it on the flip
But-
side of that with the Browns every year, preseason.
Yeah.
You don't see our freaking
Right.
starters play at all for the preseason, and all of a sudden they come in and look like they haven't played for the entire
Yeah.
preseason, or they haven't played since last freaking year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a that's
Wait a
a
minute,
coaching decision.
hold on. Stupid Browns and their preseason approach.
There you go.
No, but I go to it is a coaching philosophy. Now, I think your most important thing is you head into the playoffs healthy, but you still have to play the last 3 games.
Right.
If you give those guys all 3 games off, and then they got to sit out the play-in game?
You haven't been playing great to begin with.
Right.
So,
I
agree.
I'm a little concerned about that. But do you play it almost like a preseason game
Right.
in reverse? You play them the first quarter, they sit the rest of the game, where they're still getting some time. But then you let some of these other guys get opportunities. The Craig Porter Jr.
And who knows? Maybe it is a rest thing. Maybe
Bates.
maybe they are at a point where
yeah.
they're needing to get a little bit of rest with these guys,
Right.
but they still need to keep the flow going.
Yeah.
Somehow.
So I'm all in. That's kind of the way I think I would approach it, unless somebody has, I know he says his hand is all better, but Jared Allen, he wants to play all 82 games. Great. You're going in for 3 minutes and then you're coming out, you're sitting the game, rest of the game. Anybody who's got a nagging injury or something that they want to heal up, I think that's priority.
Yeah.
So I'm
if
glad
Mobley comes to you and says, I've got an act, you're sitting the flip down because
right.
you're an injury guy anyway. So
Jared Allen, 78 games. Darius
Yeah.
Garland, 73. Mitchell, 79. Mobley, 69. So
Yeah. So they're wait,
what did I say?
how did Donovan play 79 games?
71. 71, my bad.
I was like, wait a minute. That math
Drew
doesn't
broke out
add
in
up.
hives again. Literally,
Yeah.
the math numbers
My bad.
are doing him in tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, the math was not mathing.
It did
and
not
needs to
math.
math.
Jason sells numbers for a living.
He just can't read them. So all that being said, I think that is the way I would like to see them approach it. Almost like a preseason game in reverse, where they're playing early
just
to
get
keep
the-
a rhythm,
Get the love flowing.
to find a little bit of that life that they had
Yeah.
earlier. But then I would almost say the game against Indiana, the last game of the year, is now it's a home game. So, but you're really cautious about that game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's the way I approach it. But it's I agree. These younger guys, it's it's like I using my son in soccer. When he steps on the field, somebody's got to jumpstart the players on the field, the
Right.
team.
Yeah.
And so somebody needs to go out and just lay something out. Go out and dive for a ball. Go get a tough rebound.
Shoulder
Go make
check somebody.
Take a charge. Something. Yeah, shoulder check. I don't care, especially if we're playing Golden State. But, but something to jumpstart. And I think those young guys could bring life back into what's been kind of a lifeless last month of the
Yeah,
season.
I agree.
And remind
Little injection
the
right in the arm.
veterans who had so much success early how
Yeah.
fun it is to play basketball
Right.
again.
See, and that last game could mean something to Indiana.
Right.
I mean, they're
Right. They're still
between the
they're
fourth
still
and
jockeying.
fifth. Yeah, yeah.
Which is,
so
that's where you go back to that whole just get it done in Chicago already. Just be done with this scenario.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Depending on how it goes. I mean, because again, like you said, they're
Where would that put Indiana if they did make the playoffs right there? Would that be they'd still be playing?
right now they're the 4 seed.
So it's
gonna
home
be
field
tough because-
advantage with them or Milwaukee is what they're playing for.
Yeah.
I'm just
so they
trying-
need to
I guess
clinch
I'm
well,
trying
that
to
but
four.
they're also now depending on New York's fighting to keep the 3 seed because again, there's only 3 games left.
New York's
but
scary too.
the Pacers are sandwiched right between those two. They're
Yeah.
3 games away from the Bucks for the 5 seed and 3 games away from the Knicks for the 3 seed.
Yeah,
So they're trying to keep from one and get to the other. I don't think it's likely with 3 games left because one
So
would have to win all,
so
lose
this-
all. But
The scenario where we would actually play them in the playoffs would be what then?
the
Pacers.
when we would play them,
Mhm.
second round.
second round. Yeah,
So yeah, that's where coming down the stretch there.
Mhm.
If they're looking ahead, they're trying to beat the snot out of us,
Right.
along with wearing us out, so that when that were to
Yep.
come,
And we still have them twice. There and
is that that would be
and I don't say struggled, but Indiana's kind of given us fits. They're not. It's not a walkover.
No, Indiana was what they were in the conference finals last year.
Mhm.
They're good. They struggled early, but they have kind of found their groove of late. And I don't think if you face now we got to get past the first round anyway, but facing a team like Indiana in the playoffs is no guarantee. They're good. They're
Yeah.
long. They're athletic.
they're like old
Halliburton
Reggie Miller
is-
Pacers good.
I'm not sure they're that good,
So,
but they're not bad.
so Drew, is it
Yeah.
possible to slump at the end of the season and still win a championship? Is there?
It is 2 years ago. Denver finished the season 7-10, I believe, and obviously went on to win the championship. And so, but it's do we have a Jokic? No. Do we have a guy who's been there before? No. Do we have a group of young guys who hopefully are hungry? That's my hope. And what would carry us? I don't know. But to me, I don't think this is a Cavs team that can figure it out in the playoffs.
Right.
I think they have to find their rhythm again heading into the playoffs.
Now, OKC is another young team coming out of the West, right?
Mhm.
So, who scares you in the East other than Boston?
To me, anybody with length. Now, Atlanta's injured in terms of like Jalen Johnson's hurt. Jalen Suggs for Orlando's hurt, but there's still enough length on those two teams that, they're a little concerning. Milwaukee's experience, when you've got Giannis and Dame, that's pretty good. And do they worry me as much as Boston? No. If I had to pick out of those 3, I actually probably would say Orlando because of how the series went last year.
Mhm.
Now, Jalen Suggs was a big part of that, but when they've got Paolo, who's a bona fide stud. Now the other Mo Wagner's out too, but they still got Franz. They've got a guy like Jonathan Isaacs who's got a lot of length. Is it Wendell Carter who's got a lot of? So they got a lot of length, and that typically is what bothers us the most. I'm never going to be concerned. I shouldn't say this, but I'm never going to be concerned about a Trae Young led team.
Mm-mm.
I'm just not a fan of him as a playoff guy.
Wait.
He's a stats guy, not a.
And a Niang.
I like George. I was sad to see him go, but it obviously worked out good for us. So I'm going on, but I would probably say, if I had to pick two teams, I would say, other than Boston, I think the Knicks are going to be too tired. I think Detroit's less experienced than us. I would say Indiana and Orlando would probably be the two things other than Boston. Orlando, because of the series last year, they know us, we know them. They took us to the brink last year. And Indiana, because they were in the finals last year, they got a bona fide star, and they got a lot of length and athleticism.
Cool.
I'm afraid of Boston for sure. But New York, the reason why I would say New York is I feel like they just play us to try to beat us up. And I feel like if you had a game that stretched out to 7, it may be a sweep or something that we could pull off on them because I think we play them well. But in the playoffs, they're just physical, and our team is athletic and fast, but physical is not normally. I mean, Allen, super physical. Hunter, physical. Mobley.
Here's an interesting stat for you, though, when it comes to New York. First of all, Tom Thibodeau has never had a lot of success in the playoffs because he runs his starters into the ground.
I'm just saying from
I agree.
I still feel like we beat New York and we move on past them, but I just am afraid of the intensity that playoffs brings, the shorter rotations. If there's a team that you're going to play that makes me afraid from that standpoint, I just feel like with Karl Anthony Towns and those big boys in there that they just play us more physical, and I would be afraid of losing somebody and then have to go play a Boston or something.
No, I think if you remember before the season, I said to me New York had the best starting 5 in the NBA.
Right.
Now, they had no depth.
Right.
But their starting 5 is incredible. But I think they're run into the ground. Tom Thibodeau doesn't typically have success in the playoffs. But the other thing, and this is where I was going, now, regular season's a regular season, postseason's different. But against the Cavs, the Celtics, and the Thunder, I want to say it was 9 games total, maybe 8 games total, they were winless in the regular season. They didn't beat a single one of them one time. Now, could that change in the playoffs? Of course. Playoffs are a different breed.
And then you go back to my point. I'm not afraid of not making it past New York. It's what conditioner you get to.
In order for us to play New York, they'd have to get past Boston.
Oh, well, then I am.
And I would rather play New York than Boston. So
right.
In that situation, I'm happy.
Yeah.
And do you think we have the depth to make a deep playoff run?
I'm actually interested to see what he does because I think we legitimately have 11 guys who could play.
Name them right now. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, you got the core 4, Max Strus, DeAndre Hunter, Sam Merrill, Ty Jerome, Dean Wade.
That's 10.
Is that 10? Who's my 11th? Who am I forgetting? See?
You got Porter, you got Tristan Thompson, you got...
No. I know. I'm forgetting the one.
Wait.
Devontae Green.
Time's up.
Shut up. Anyway, so 10 still. But in the playoffs, you typically go down to 7 or 8. And so do I think we have the depth for the playoffs? Yes, because I think what we can do is we can vary our lineup. Now, what I would like to see them do in the playoffs...
Okoro.
Oh, Okoro. Thank you. That was 11. So there we go.
I thought...
No.
I missed him too.
I don't know why I forgot Ice.
He's kind of small.
But I like how we can vary our lineups. Like you throw a lineup out of, Ty Jerome, Donovan Mitchell, DeAndre Hunter, Mobley, and Allen. All of a sudden now you're huge. Heck,
Right.
Sub out Donovan Mitchell, throw Ty or Hunter at the 2 and Wade at the 3. Now you're really big.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You could go really small. They've done it a few times this season where Hunter's playing the 5 and you're just spreading the floor. Now, obviously, it opens you up to struggles elsewhere. If you're playing against the Knicks and Karl Anthony Towns would have a heyday with the small lineup,
Right.
Or you play against a team that's guard heavy, and you throw out a big. But that's what I mean. I think he can match up well. But my problem is some of those role players, the Merrills, the Wades, the Okoros, Max Strus have been the last month and a half so inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
For the first part of the year, when they were in the offense, you throw them the ball, they're open, they shoot it, they make it. Now it's like,
8 and 10 shots sometimes.
Which
going up
version
and
of Sam Merrill am I going to get? The guy
Right.
who's hitting 8 threes in a game, or the guy who can't hit the ball?
the
outside of
dude's
a barn?
like looking like Steph Curry in some of those games. You're like, hey, we just found like
So
gold mine.
yeah, so that's where I'm concerned. Is I think you have the flexibility to throw out all kinds of lineups and match up to anybody or create a matchup nightmare. But which version of those particular players you're going to get? You know, right
On
now
paper, it looks great.
Yeah. The only ones I think that have been consistent pretty much all year, Mobley, Ty Jerome, and DeAndre Hunter. Outside of that, you know, Jared Allen will give you 8 and 6, and then he'll give you 20 and 17.
But he looks cool doing it.
Right.
He does look
Jared
cool.
Allen. And
Dude,
he
I
does-
love,
he
by
does
the
it
way,
ethically.
I love the
He's an
video that
ethical player.
you shared on the Facebook page where he comes down and tries to do like the big windmill dunk. And he's
Yeah.
like, I was trying to go all
Trying to be
Braun
like
on. Then I went
LeBron.
back and I was like, nope, not that
No, I
wasn't it.
love Jared Allen.
He's one of my favorites too.
You know,
that was a
he's-
steal, by the way, too.
Heck
just
yeah.
to get him.
No, Kobe's done a great job building this roster, and it's built for years to come.
And back to your point, you know, JB over in Detroit has Detroit looking like a really good up and comer team. We talked about this before too. Kobe made the hard decision. JB wasn't doing bad. The team looked good, but he noticed right away too that they weren't going to excel past the point where they are, and that's proof right here. You bring in Kenny, and within one season, he's got these guys looking like
We're
the,
at least talking
the team,
championship potential.
right?
You know, we're in years past
that's-
with JB. It was making the playoffs.
He did
you know,
good with getting these guys to where they are now. You know, like we
and that's
we've
what
talked
he-
about.
I said with him, you know, a couple years ago, he's a guy who's great for a young team
Mm-hmm.
that's trying to find an identity and establish themselves.
Right.
And
He's
he
consistent.
can get the best out of the young guys who are hungry, but they reach a point where now they're the veterans or the experienced
Mm-hmm.
guys where I don't think he knows how to get them past that point. And so he's got Detroit, and that's a team that you want to talk about, a team that concerns me, Detroit.
Yeah,
You know, they're good, but again, they'd have to get past the Knicks and the Celtics to get to us.
Could
So
they?
I don't think, could they? No.
yeah. I mean, they could. Anything's possible.
Well,
Will they?
anything's
No,
possible, but
Probably not.
that's probably one of the least likely things. But I don't even remember where we were. We were talking about something.
We were talking about Kevin Stefanski and
Oh,
his
yes.
amazing
So-
play calling.
yes.
Hold on, no,
So-
all
so
trails lead back to the Browns,
JB
and we'll never get
Bickerstaff-
past it.
But that is also why I'm not a huge Kevin Stefanski fan.
Yeah, I knew
is
it was
because
coming.
I've said for years that he and JB are very similar in their coaching abilities. They're very good with young, inexperienced teams, and that's why
The
we're
difference
going
is
back to the Cavs.
we never gave. How do I word this politically correct? We never gave JB a sex offender, though, so we don't know where that would have led. You know,
There is a
Stefanski-
lack of massage parlors
right.
in
I don't.
Cleveland.
You don't hear about that very often in basketball.
Now,
How would he have handled
I
that
will tie it
situation
together,
with the Browns?
though.
Oh boy,
when you talk about the Travis Hunter thing,
do I need to get my beeper ready?
no. I'm going. This is going good way. So every account of Travis
like it
Hunter,
used to in
is the
Houston
kid is a
for
great
Deshaun?
kid. No, that he's a great kid. That he's not a go out kind of guy. He's not a party guy. Like he's all football and stay in and play some game. Like he's and so he's very much like the culture of the Cavs, the Jared Allens, the Mobleys, the Okoros, the Mitchells. They're just
high quality.
high quality guys that that can help build the culture
So
that you want.
so to put a bow on the Cavs talk though,
We're
There's
done
still-
already?
there's still-
so much more to talk about.
well, there really is. There is, but there's a lot of meaningful basketball these last 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the play-in's not settled.
True.
There's one game separating, a lot right
Mm-hmm.
there, or actually 2 games from the 10 seed to the 7 seed. So,
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of meaningful basketball.
Well, here, let me ask you this: of those 4 teams, who do you want the Cavs to play?
I mean, right now, I would say Atlanta. They seem to be struggling right now.
Okay.
Yeah, they got as much as we all love Niang, he's a starter right now.
Yeah. They're,
That guy's a guy that was 4th or 5th at his position with us. I mean, played some meaningful minutes, but he wasn't.
They're
key asset.
they're struggling the last 10 games. They're not exactly setting the world on fire, and I could see them probably dropping down and maybe being that 9 or 10 seed, needing to win 2 games. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But Chicago's hurt. They've got a whole page of injuries. A lot of guys missing the game against us tomorrow night. So.
But by play-in, I would think most of those guys, it could be precautionary too. Who knows? I mean, we're holding Donovan, but by all accounts, he's not going to have any issues playing in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So when you say all that, you just picked who you'd like them to play. One question I have is, obviously if they play the way that we know they can play, what are the odds we go through this and end up in the championship round?
Conference championship?
Mm-hmm. Well, then, like who do you think comes out of the East this year?
I think until somebody beats Boston, you have to say Boston.
Okay.
I think the biggest threat to Boston is Cleveland.
Okay. So you're saying there's a pretty good shot we come out of the East.
But I'm also less confident about Cleveland's chances based on how they're playing the last month.
Right. But
So-
we go back to if they play like we know they can,
If we play like the way we're capable,
they can give Boston a headache.
I think we can create a headache for Boston. Now, the other part for me when it comes to Boston is the only time I've seen Evan Mobley go against Porzingis, it was his worst game of the year. He was abysmal. He got his
So maybe
first shot
Porzingis is
blocked,
hurt.
and it's like he like melted away, and he was a non-factor.
Got his feelings hurt.
Right. Yeah, basically. He was like, ooh, this guy's tall too.
All right. So part two to my question is, who do you like coming out of the West?
You're not going to like my answer.
LA.
The Lakers.
Yeah, I do too. And it's for all the right reasons. Luka is a baller and a half. And I remember when they made the trade, and we all said that Dallas literally got the better end of that deal. When you look at their roster overall, I don't know if they got the better end of the deal, because I definitely think that Luka's a better player. But when you look at the roster that Dallas inherited, that was a squad and a half. All the positions had
And then
good
everybody got
players, and all you're getting is LeBron and Luka. But I remember thinking to myself, all you did was put a younger version of LeBron in a position that LeBron had been penciled into playing several times, with them as the point guard. But the dude's getting older. He can't move the way that he used to. Still is more athletic than probably 90% of, basketball players in the NBA right now. But now you're able to basically duplicate him and put him. It's kind of like when you play on 2K. And you can go and you can pick your team. You can pick the Miami Heat version of LeBron and put him at point guard. Now you can pick the LA Lakers version and put him at power forward and put him all. You basically just went and created another version, and those two have been lights out together. So I don't.
But they
disagree at
really
all with
haven't
that.
been. The past 10 games they're 5-5.
But their defense travels, and their defense is really good. And
but it's not translating into a winning streak.
But the West is a lot better than the East right now too. So
well, no, when you look at for the West, the Thunder, we'll go because number one seed. They're young, but good Lord, their team scares me.
Yeah.
Now think about this, and this is again topic for another day. They have, I believe, it's 12 first-round picks in the next 4 drafts.
and they're already stupid young.
And they're already stupid young and incredibly talented. So watch out for them. But
So they could either package all them up, trade them off, and go get a stud to come right in the middle and be that guy as well.
because
That's crazy.
right now their players are all on young contracts.
So they can afford them.
But I don't know that because they're so reliant on SGA to get them going. Like he's got
Is
a
that
streak of
Chemical you put in food, or
sure. It's a shopping center, grocery store.
Okay. Why would he be afraid of that? It's weird.
Hungry.
Gotta eat.
But they're so. I think he's something like he just passed Jordan in consecutive games of 20 points. He's at like 90 games in a row. So they're so reliant on him as one person. But their defense, they're a team that's long, physical, athletic, and smothering. So, but I don't know that they can rely on him to carry them when defenses adjust to shutting just him down.
He's their team.
Oh, he is. Yeah, everything goes through him. Now, Denver.
You're talking the grocery store again?
Yeah.
Okay.
SGA. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Denver. I'm not going to count them out because Jamal Murray, playoff Jamal Murray's way better than regular season Jamal Murray. They've got Aaron Gordon. They've got Michael Porter Jr. And, of course, the Joker. Like, their team's good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and they're playing better of late. But I don't know if they have the defense come playoff time with some of these other teams. But I wouldn't count them out.
Yeah.
Now, the other sneaky team is Golden State. Since they got Jimmy Butler.
Wait.
Yeah, trust me, I don't want to pay them any more compliments than I need to. But I can't deny, since they got Jimmy Butler, how much that has improved their team. Just in terms of energy and
it's somebody you can rely on when you throw the ball.
Well, I think it was just
as long as Jimmy Butler's feelings aren't hurt and he's like causing a big ruckus with, I want my airplane to have food on it.
Now, did you see, and again, and the West is good.
Yeah.
So when I talk about this, like Houston, again, another long physical team that's given the Cavs problems. Curry last night had 3 points.
Wow.
He was 1 for 10 against Houston. So that's what I mean. The West is wide open, but again, they're another young team. They haven't really been there before. So when I look at it,
and
LeBron's been there.
If somebody shuts down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I say the Lakers is because you got LeBron, who's been there a bazillion times, and you got Luka, who's already carried his team to the finals with little else.
And just LeBron's been there a bunch, but he's lost in the finals.
Right. We've been there many times with him.
But if you look at
he's
some
itching
of the
too.
rosters that he's carried there.
He's
again,
experienced at losing in the finals.
What are you talking about? Anderson Varejao?
Yeah. Mo Williams.
What was the other guy? I can see his face.
Cute?
Not so much.
Delhi?
No, it starts with a P. Last name P. Pavlovich. Sasha Pavlovich. See, if you can't remember the guys that you went to the finals with, as diehard Cleveland fans, it wasn't a good roster.
But we love Big Z.
Daniel Gibson.
No, Big Z.
Zydrunas.
Yes.
Ilgauskas.
Donyell Marshall.
Yeah.
Dwight Gooden. Wally Zerbiak.
Hey,
we did have Wally.
Wally was good before he became a Cav.
Yeah. Well, that's everybody. We had Shaq.
Delonte, LeBron's daddy, West.
Was Wally Miami of Ohio?
Yeah, that's very He's
Shaquille O'Neal
got his NBA contract because how he played in the NCAA tournament.
Remember that one time that everybody thought that Delonte West was hooking up with LeBron James's mom? That was awesome.
Did that happen?
Yes.
Oh,
allegedly.
Allegedly. Keyword.
In spirit. In truth.
But that's why I say the Lakers, is because they have two guys who know how to get there and have done it with a lot less talent than what the Lakers have. And every other team is either inexperienced or has more holes than I think the Lakers have.
And the Lakers have J.J. Redick, who you could probably put in the same conversation as Deshaun Watson with all of his alleged off-field stuff and allegations. So
how does that work for Lakers?
Get it.
I'm not sure how we got from here to there, but
you gave me a device that has buttons, and that's how it happens.
Nice.
So I don't know who will come out of the West, but I think when you look at the Cavs, say all things staying the same, they'll probably play the Hawks or the Heat, depending on the Bulls' injury severity. And then the next round they play the Pacers or the Bucks. And for me, I'd rather play the Bucks.
I like it.
I don't want the Pacers in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't
I'll
disagree
stand with
it.
you on that.
So are we sold on Jackson Dart at 30? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We've got enough Browns in draft talk. We've got our Cavs in. We got the Guardians.
But I will say this on that note. I am slowly moving in the direction of a Jalen Milroe.
Dude, you were so anti him like a week ago.
I know. I listen more and more people talk about him and some of the stuff.
I think it was Kurt Warner that had me on him because when I listened to him talk about him and he was saying the same thing about like the stuff that he's bad at right now is all fixable stuff. And he was saying when you look at just the kid's just makeup of a human being that can play football, he has the tools to be very successful in the NFL. He's got a great mind. He's got a lot of hard work ethic, that he puts out there, and he understands NFL offenses. He can make the throws. That's what you were saying earlier, Jay. He can make the throws. It's just not consistent. But those are things that you can be fixed with
can
footwork.
they be fixed? Who knows?
Well, he's just saying like you can't not take a guy just because in college he has trouble throwing the ball this way.
QB
but
has
he's shown you can make that throw.
Yeah.
Now it's just a matter of can we break down the mechanics of what we need to do. I mean, in baseball, pitcher when he's falling off of a mountain, the ball's going wide left. You fall forward, fall towards the plate, and that fixes that. Can you throw the ball hard? Yes. Can you throw the ball consistently? No. You look at the simple little things. So who the heck knows?
Yeah, I think the key with a guy like that, or a Jackson Dart, any of those guys that are second, third, fourth round prospects, even Shuck, maybe even later than the fourth round, are guys
or undrafted. Who knows?
Well, right. They're going to need a couple years, and I think what the Browns have fallen into, and what a lot of NFL teams have fallen into, is they draft those guys in the first round, and the expectations are, this guy's got to start day one,
right?
And I don't think Milroe's ready for that. I think there's a lot to be excited about, but you draft a guy like that, as a fan base, we would need to be, patient,
right?
And Browns fans, we I guess we've been patient. We've been forced to be patient.
It's important, whatever this decision they end up making, because we know it's not Kenny Pickett. Like, this is not they can't be the end all scenario for them for free agency and quarterbacks, but it's why whatever the move it is, like we talked about last week, Flacco was out, but all of a sudden now there's all kinds of rumors about him coming back. But if that's the guy that you bring in, then yes, you can allow a guy like Milroe, or if you go and get Kirk Cousins, Drew's favorite quarterback in the whole draft or the whole free agency, or he's not even a free agent. I don't even know what he is. He's a nothing. He's about to be your quarterback is what he is.
He's a should be quarterback's coach.
Right. No.
I'll take him for that.
Boo. Anyways,
here's a question. Going back to the Cavs.
Holy crap! Curious. How do we do that?
I know. Well, I just got to thinking. We talked about the team. But who's the key player for the Cavs during the playoffs?
Evan Mobley.
Darius Garland. Actually, I think it's probably Jerome, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's where I'm struggling, because I'm in my brain I'm saying Mobley and Garland, but I don't know which one I think is more.
I feel like Jerome has showed up the most in spots when you wouldn't expect, like when other guys.
But I still think
through.
In the playoffs, he's going to be on the court for 20 minutes, maybe.
Maybe.
Whereas Garland and Mitchell are probably closer 35 to 40.
You don't think they'll have more athletic type packages built with him being such a 6'5"?
Well, but I think Hunter guard is going to be your wing. I think.
But does he slide down to like the 4 at times to become more athletic version of the 4?
Well, but I think when you look at their starting 5, Mitchell. And I'm going to put Hunter in there because he should start in the playoffs.
his minutes are.
Now, whether or not he will, I don't know. But you got Mitchell, Garland, Hunter, Mobley, and Allen.
Mm-hmm.
5 guys. 40 minutes, 200 minutes, take off a few, 190 minutes a game between those 5. Right? There's not a lot of minutes left.
Drop the 2. Okay. I see. Yep.
So I don't think it can be outside of those 5 guys because you're not going to have enough minutes from the others. But I'm sitting here thinking Mobley is a logical guess because you need size to counter the guards.
And if he's hitting,
but to me, Garland is the guy that's going to make or break you because the other teams are going to pick on him defensively.
Yeah,
they're going to put him in a pick and roll and isolate him. And so if he's able to withstand that while still giving you playmaking and good shooting on the other end, that's your key.
And proper distribution. If he's he's dragging all that attention, I tell this to my kids all the time in sports.
Yeah.
If a guy's on you and you look over and there's another guy on you, guess what? You have the
Somebody's open.
same amount of guys on the field at the same time.
Yeah.
There's somebody open somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, and that's Garland is.
So I don't know.
I don't know if he's drawing that kind of attention, then be a good distributor as long as these guys are dropping their shots.
Yeah. That's why I'm torn. I just was curious where you guys stood because I don't know.
It could change each series, you know.
Yeah. That's the
I mean,
truth.
Mobley, you know, based on matchups. I mean, I don't know. I think he's
Jared
the key.
Allen can come in and give you 30 points. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're right. Depending on who, like, if you're playing the Bulls, Jared Allen's got to play because of Vucevic. Nobody else can guard him. He's too big. He's a big bruiser. But if you're playing, you know, the Magic and they're going more wing heavy, then Jared might not be playing as much, and somebody like Ty Jerome, Max Strus might be playing more minutes. And so that
Getting
kind of
those quick shots off
But
and
I
moving up
think-
and down the floor fast.
I think Garland, Mitchell, Mobley, and Hunter are going to be playing 35, 40 plus, regardless of who you play. So
as long as they're healthy
As long as you're healthy, right.
and drinking Gatorade.
Stay hydrated.
Got to stay hydrated.
Gatorade.
What are you, a Powerade guy?
I don't
He's
know.
a
It's just
Haterade.
always whatever
Water.
whatever the group
Water.
is. It's
Stick
it's
with
the opposite.
water.
Yeah.
H2O.
Propel.
Drew's been
Propel's
drinking
water, right?
He's been drinking the Haterade.
High quality
Mm-hmm.
H2O.
Mama said. Well, boys,
Is that it?
I think we've said all we can say for today. I think tomorrow's a new day, new scenarios. Always something fun to talk about. I mean, we got the draft coming up, so obviously that's hard not to talk about the what ifs. We got the playoffs. The Guardians have a crap ton of games to pull together, so hopefully we'll have more to talk about with the Guardians coming up. But
And I think after their home stand,
yeah, we'll know. a little
seeing
bit
how
more.
they play at home will give us a better picture.
Anytime you play, I mean, it's a proven fact. Anytime you play in front of your home crowd here, I mean, the fans are different here. Look at the Brown Stadium. I mean, losing record after losing record, and they're packing the place out. And the energy, people come here for a 1 year stand, not a one night stand, a 1 year stand with us, and they leave here saying, "I've never been in a place that had better fans in Cleveland." So I 100% agree. Let's see where they stand after this home stand. It may give
Cleveland
them
fans
that
are the best in the land.
Right. May give them that shot in the arm that they need to get their act together and get this pitching under the way. But I've had fun.
Let's hope. Good times.
Yeah.
Good times, man.
Noodle salad.
Hope we covered some topics that tickled
Let
your-
us know
tickled
what
your
else you want us
fancy.
to cover.
Yeah.
What things you want to talk about.
Leave us some comments on our Facebook page. Show us off to your friends. Get them involved with this. Let's have some parties here. We're going to hang it up here, but like I said, share us with your friends. Leave us some comments. We got topics for days. Give us some of your thoughts on the topics you've heard us talking about. Maybe you disagree with us. Guess what? We like that. We want to talk to you about why that is. So hit us up. Until next time, we are 3 and out, and we are out.
Sayonara.
Thank you for joining us on 3 and Out. Be on the lookout for more episodes.